Hello and welcome to NDTV. Tata Punch has a new sales milestone. It is now the best-selling product in Indian market for 2 consecutive months. Today I'm joined by Mr. Vivek Srivats, Chief Commercial Officer, Tata Passenger Electric Mobility, to talk more about it and also the sales graph from here on. Thank you so much, Vivek, for joining us today. Now tell me something. Tata Nexon has also been a very well-performing product, and now Tata Punch has really punched above its weight. What is the secret behind their success?
I think different for both of them. I'll start with Nexon. I think when we launched Nexon in 2017, two things we prioritized: to give customers a very different look on the outside, but no compromise in terms of space inside, and also no compromise in terms of its SUV performance and features. And over the last, I would say, 6-7 years, Nexon has really caught the fancy of customers because it's, I would say, it's absolutely ticks all the boxes, whether it is the looks of the car, contemporary features, yeah, very spacious interiors, as well as various powertrain options. So once you start looking at an Nexon, it's very difficult to say no, is what I would say. On the Punch, slightly different. We were focused on democratizing SUV attributes. While Nexon is slightly more urban, stylish, feature-oriented, Punch was more focused on democratizing SUV attributes of interior space, ground clearance, and a slightly tough look as well on the outside. And obviously, when it was launched at that price point, you could get only hatchbacks, and Punch really uh, caught the fancy of people who wanted SUV driving experience at a lower price. And I think it has continued to expand that category. More and more people are moving towards SUVs, as we know. It's more than 50% of Indian TIV now, and I think Punch is able to provide that experience at a very accessible price points. So
Mhm.
two different magic sauce for both the products, but I think it's taking care of that SUV aspiration right at the entry point with slightly different products.
What is the variant breakup, Vivek? We have seen other OEMs telling us that higher variants are doing better now. How is the variant breakup for Punch and Nexon?
For us, it's always been that way. From the launch of the Nexon, we've always sold the top trim or the top variant, which has been always the most richly endowed in terms of engine, powertrain, as well as additional features. It continues to be the same way. In fact, even now, after we launched the first the mid-cycle enhancement of the Nexon in September last year, we added a lot of segment first features. We had added the DC A gearbox, much larger touchscreens, 360-degree camera, etc. And obviously, features means a significant movement upwards in terms of how much the vehicle costs. It continues to be the largest selling variant, for us. In fact, across most of Tata products, it is the top end trim that sells the most. If you go to Harrier Safari, it is almost in excess of 70% actually. In Punch, there are two peaks, I would say. The mid variant, what we call as adventure, sells a lot, as well as the top variant. There are two peaks in Punch. I think the lesson there is, there is a very there is an entry customer who just wants an SUV performance, and then there's a customer who wants slightly more features. Whereas Nexon, again, it is a big peak right at the top, a smaller peak in the middle, is what I would say. Whereas in Punch, both the peaks are almost the same. In Nexon, the bigger peak is at the top end, but in the mid end, the peak is a slightly lesser, I would say.
For Nexon specifically, the competition has gone up a bit higher because we recently saw Mahindra launch its XUV 3XO with a lot of features. How do you see Nexon faring compared to 3XO?
See, Nexon came into the market, like I said, in 2017, where there were just two players, and it has slowly grown. And from then to now, there have been a lot of additions in the compact SUV category. When the Koreans came in, and then Honda came in, and now we have a new there's been a product refresh by the market leader. So and so it's not the first time Nexon is facing a new competitor. Nexon has its own very strong, I would say, set of current customers. Nexon continues to be an extremely strong package. Not to forget what I said earlier, we have significantly premiumized the car in terms of engine, powertrain, feature combination, and it's a no compromise car. I mean, I won't even say no compromise car. It is a car which ticks all the boxes, whether you want external design, internal space, powerful performance, fuel efficiency, multi powertrains, including an EV. It ticks all the boxes. So for Nexon, competition is not new. In fact, I would go on to say that every time uh, there's a competition that has come, and Nexon sales have jumped up a little bit more, and we expect the same to happen this time also.
Let's talk about ADAS. You recently added ADAS level 2 in some of your products. Are you planning to bring it for Nexon?
See, we've continuously been refreshing our products. We follow the new forever policy where we just don't wait for the 3-year cycle of enhancement. We always, probably every 6 months, every 1 year, we keep upgrading our products. The other thing we've also done is constantly democratize features and attributes. I spoke about how we had democratized SUV driving with Punch. Features as well, features like sunroof, like automatic transmission, sunroof, and LED headlamps, end-to-end ERL, all have been democratized, and I think it's only a matter of time before ADAS also is democratized downwards.
What about Punch? Do you plan to bring ADAS and Punch as well?
It not immediately, I would say. See, Punch is a price sensitive segment, and also it's a customer who has a clear idea of what he wants. So I mean, again, all features do get democratized over a period of time, but for a Punch category, it will take a slightly longer time. But maybe there are other features that need to come in. Like I said, we are committed and been open by saying that we'll constantly refresh our products, and you will see some refresh coming up in Punch as well very soon. Yeah.
For Nexon, what is the sales distribution between petrol and diesel?
I mean, if you go back 4-5 years, diesel used to be a strong component, but as the industry has progressed, petrol has become the leading, powertrain. 88 up to 88% of Nexon is sold in petrol, and the rest is diesel. I'm not counting EV here; that is a separate category. But largely, it is 88% petrol.
Okay, so do you think it makes sense to continue with diesel considering it has already come down below 20%?
I mean, actually, diesel is a powertrain which is unnecessarily, I would say, criticized and pushed down in popularity. I'm a strong believer in diesel because diesel provides fuel efficiency, a great drive experience, and for SUVs, it makes a lot of sense. I think I do anticipate going forward there is going to be a better awareness around diesel, and diesel engines will continue for some time, at least. It's not going to die off very soon.
And what about the Punch? How much is CNG contributing and how much is the percentage for petrol?
Yeah, but CNG is picking up really strong. I think the fact that CNG provides both economical drive experience but also is eco-sensitive, emission norms are taken care. CNG is really growing in popularity. Plus, not to forget our our innovation in terms of giving dual cylinder engines has really worked well. So Punch CNG demand is going up every day.
Do you plan to add a more powerful engine to Punch, maybe a turbo?
We'll have to evaluate that, Mugdha, because I know a lot of the industry experts had said Punch engine is underpowered when it was launched, but it is very popular and it's very reliable. We'll evaluate if different engine can add more volumes, and if required, we'll do it as per our policy of constant upgradation. But right now, it is not something that I can confirm.
Now let's look a little bit forward. What are your plans for 2025 in terms of product launches? We have heard a lot about many of the products that you're planning to bring, but what is the trajectory looking like?
So in Bharat Mobility, we had already shown this, and in the previous Auto Expo as well. So we have a couple of products confirmed already on the EV side, which is the Curve and the Harrier EV. Curve will also come in petrol and diesel, and it would be in the market before the festival season.
On EV, Vivek, do you think this is the year when we can see a little bit of price parity coming between EV and ICE because battery prices have come down? Do you think that is possible? Is this that year where we see the pricing coming a little closer together?
I think EVs over a period of time have been continuously getting corrected in terms of prices, largely due to component cost reduction. There's another way also where EV price parity will happen as larger and larger uh, products come in terms of length. The difference in GST is going to kick in, and there's going to be parity in the higher side of the market. So there is going to be parity coming in. The parity will come due to cost reduction in the smaller cars and through the difference in taxation on the other side, because the larger cars also come with larger batteries. So theoretically the cost has to go up there, but it's the taxation difference which will help. So but overall the roadmap is to increasingly bring in parity in terms of cost.
And what is your focus on EV infrastructure this year? I know with Tata Power, you have been focusing a lot on EV infrastructure. What are your targets for this year?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, in fact, we have been working with Tata Power very strongly right from the beginning. But recently, we extended our partnership to other charging providers as well. And the big announcement that we have made is that all the data of our more than 1.5 lakh customers, we are willing to give the data in terms of their routes and places where they stop and preferred areas of charging are being given by us to charging providers so that they can precisely decide which is the location they can put their chargers. We are very working very proactively with all charging provider operators, even to provide community charging. Community charging is very important in cities because there are many people who do not have dedicated parking slots, and this means that they do not have a reliable place to overnight charge their EVs. Whereas community charging gives an option where every society has a bank of chargers, and you don't need to have a charger specifically in your own parking slot, but you can use the common charger in your society to charge, and that will really be a big breakthrough in reaching out to people who do not have dedicated parking slots, especially in cities like Bombay, NCR, where that probably is the largest category of buyers. So these are two big areas. Highway charging, we are tying up with a lot of CPOs and the oil companies and having open collaboration with them in terms of data sharing to put up fast chargers and key spots on highways across the country, and also sharing details on where the largest clusters of EVs are in terms of ownership, so that we work strongly on the community charging. So people do not have to depend on having a dedicated parking slot. I can have an EV, and I know I can depend on my neighborhood community charging to charge my EV. So these are the two big levers that we are working on in terms of charging infrastructure.
You know, Vivek, in financial year 2025, Siam is projecting a very low single-digit growth for auto industry. What are your expectations from this year?
I think it is definitely a challenging year because two reasons. One is all the pending uh, waiting customers have, I think, dried up. Most post COVID there was a lot of customers. There were a lot of customers who were waiting for new products, and there was a long waiting list among many companies. That is tapering down. Second is that network stock itself across the industry has gone up, so that buffer of I mean being able to fill in a network pipeline has also gone away. So the entire industry this year is going to depend on fresh demand generation without any buffers in terms of filling up pipeline. So it is going to be difficult. Also, most companies have kind of exhausted their new product launch plans. It's been a busy year for many of the organizations, and relatively the number of new products is expected to be lesser this year. So industry at an industry level, So it will be challenging. Coming specifically to Tata Motors, yes, it is going to be an exciting year for us. Like I said earlier, we will get into new categories on the EV side, which will come with larger batteries, large size cars, much more boot space. It's going to open out a completely new kind of use cases for EVs, including the Harrier, which will come with all-wheel drive. On the ICE side, and obviously in the EV side also, we are going to get into the largest category of the market, which is the mid SUV with the curve. We've been absent in that category for the longest time, and over the last 2 years, it has grown to be the largest category in the market. Not just the largest category in SUV, but it is a single largest subcategory in the market. So that is going to be a big opportunity for us in Tata Motors. So we do continue to expect to outgrow the market this year.
Is 2025 going to be the year where we will see electric sales cannibalizing a little bit of ICE sales, which has already started happening in two-wheeler space? Do you think it will trickle down to four-wheeler space as well?
I don't think so, because at least for us, every time we've launched an EV, it has contributed to growth to that of that particular product, and that is the way we are looking at it this year as well, because we have growth ambitions both on ICE as well as EV, and all our strategies, both in terms of how we position the EV with respect to ICE, the kind of variant walks and feature walks we put in place, is to attract two different customers. Even though the nameplate is same, maybe for Punch or for Nexon and in future Curve, the kind of people who will buy an EV of that particular nameplate and an ICE is going to be very different. So our focus is to grow both EV as well as ICE, and hopefully get incremental growth on the basis of that.
Couple of questions on current situation of the market. We have seen some bit of discounting coming in. Can you give us an idea what is the level of discounting in the market right now? And what do you think is the dealer inventory? You mentioned dealer inventory. What is the level of dealer inventory right now in the market for the industry and for Tata Motors?
See, for Tata, I can comment on Tata Motors. Tata Motors generally looks at about a month of inventory, which is where we want it to be, considering customers need early deliveries, considering transit time. We are around the same level. Some product to product, it might be a little up or little lower. Largely, we are around a 1 month level of inventory. I would not be able to comment too much on specifically on the industry, but all I can say is, that the inventory levels have gone up substantially compared to what it was about a year and a half earlier, which is what might cause an impact on how much companies are able to wholesale.
Mhm. And discount levels in the market?
I mean, again, I would not like to put a specific number, but again, for Tata Motors, there are some discounts depending on model year. There are some discounts depending at a dealer level which stock they carry. There is sometimes a mismatch in terms of variant. I would not like to put a number to it, but for us, the discounts are, I would say, pretty limited to these individual issues at each dealerships rather than across any model level.
Are there still some model year 23 products in the market?
Not with us, but we do. If you go around shopping, there might be something, in some dealerships available, but it's not something that to the level that we have to worry about.
And on supply side, do you see any trouble because of all the geopolitical issues that are cropping up? Are there any supply side issues?
No, I think there will be minor disruptions because of geopolitical issues, as well as I think Suez Canal also there's some issue coming up, but I don't see it impacting production too much. There are alternate sources, or there is enough of buffer stock to take care of these delays in deliveries. So I don't see that impacting the industry negatively.
All right. Thank you so much, Vivek, for taking time out for us and talking to us today extensively. Thanks a lot.